Hello,
Woohoo!
hello, 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 everybody.
Hello.
Hello. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Matt, and welcome to the show, everybody. We are very excited to have Antonio and Jess with us tonight. Welcome, guys.
Hi. Yeah. Welcome.
All right, so we are in for a very special night. Not only do we have the lovely Antonio, who is from Intraware, but it also coincides with our beautiful new virtual production course as well. So Antonio, for those that don't know, works for a company called Intraware, and he is a virtual production apprentice with them. Sorry. So I am little bit knowledgeable with virtual production, but can't wait to hear more about it, as I'm sure all of you are as well. But then, of course, we've got the lovely Jessica Bull here tonight, who's going to be running the show for us. So for any of our lovely viewers, if you have questions throughout tonight's live stream, please feel free to pop them in our chat, and we'll do our best to get them answered. But that's enough from me. I'm going to throw it over to Jess and Antonio. You two take it away.
Cool.
Lovely.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us tonight, Antonio. I've got many questions to ask you, so we'll just dive straight in.
Of course.
So, obviously, virtual production, if people out there follow the games or the film industry or the trends and stuff, you'll probably hear this word virtual production quite a lot. But if you don't know what it is, Antonio, do you want to try and explain it?
Well, there's a lot of different ways I could describe it. Virtual production isn't really new. It's actually been in the industry for quite a long time. But I guess the way that we've done it more recently is what's more people are probably familiar with the term. And that's where I come in. I've more experience with the lead walls type of virtual production. So the main goal of it and what it is integrating CG with reality, with your on-set actors, your lights, and bringing together a lot of different roles and people who typically wouldn't work together into the same space to get something ideally that looks a lot more real.
Yeah, nice. And you only finished at AIE, graduated in AIE last year, so in
Mhm.
2020. But now you're a virtual production apprentice. Can you quickly just explain what that means?
So it's very much a broad term. I'm a person of many hats, if you will. So for my company, Intraware, being a virtual production apprentice means that I'm learning a lot of the new and existing hardware and software technologies in revolving around virtual production and getting experience with that to a point where I can teach it to clients and other people who are interested in getting into the field.
Wow, well done, and only a year out of AIE.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing. You
busy
must be proud
life.
of yourself.
Oh, very, very, very rewarding career.
Well done. And when you were younger, like what kind of made you want to go into, I guess, this film sort of industry? Was there anything that like you looked up to? Was there like a director or a movie or something that you just like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
In terms of inspiration, I guess a lot of people around my age would probably agree. Growing up the 2000s, Pixar was a massive inspiration for me, not only aesthetically, but in terms of like the storytelling and being able to convey the stories that they did in such a unique way. It's definitely what inspired me to look towards animation and CG as a medium to express myself. And that's initially how I got into it as a hobby and eventually came down this path and making a career.
Yeah, well, okay. And so you obviously you found AIE.
Mm.
How did you find out about AIE, and did you come to AIE straight after school, high school?
Uh, it's a funny story. I think my dad came to me one time with a Facebook ad about AIE. Uh, Around the time I was interested in getting into VFX, I was looking at different schools, and someone obviously must have heard because I got an ad for AIE, and I was really interested in what I saw. And yeah, as soon as I graduated, I came to do the VFX and animation course of animation and VFX for film. I did that
Yeah.
straight after graduating high school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, awesome. And did you know any 3D before coming to AIE?
Funnily enough, I did also from AIE. As part of
Oh,
my HSC, I actually did, I believe it was the Cert 3 in Animation Foundations, which was a 3-week course that uh, taught you all the foundations and the basics of animation. And yeah, I had definitely had
yeah.
that experience going into the course after high school.
Awesome. So you would already be smashing it by the time you got
Yeah,
even into AIE.
that was the plan, but there was definitely a lot more to learn when I came here full time.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could just briefly talk about your kind of experience at AIE, what were your teachers like, the students, the projects?
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed my time at AIE. It's very much the approach to teaching that they have there very much appealed to me because it's all hands-on. There's not there is theory, but there aren't like written exams or that kind of way of teaching. A lot of it is here's a task, learn it by doing it and getting involved in these softwares directly. And I absolutely loved that. It appealed to me, especially the way I learn, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And the people and teachers there were all super supportive, always willing to help learn if you ever got stuck. And there's the work. Yeah, they were all very supportive and friendly people. And still have some friends I made from AAE today, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's so great. Like AIE is quite small. The industry is large, but also
Mm.
quite small. But there's always like AIE students just like everywhere, and they stay all friends because everyone's really close. It's really nice.
Yeah, doing a major project together, it'll definitely take a toll on you. So
Yeah,
definitely glad.
that's for sure. And I guess that leads into my next question I was going to ask about. So, obviously, with virtual production and these LED walls like coming
Mm.
out and being more accessible by a lot of people, we actually at AAE had a corner wall set up, as you can see in this image, and
Yeah.
your team were like kind of lucky enough, or you accepted to kind of work around, like use the LED wall as your major project. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, it was very exciting. So coincidentally, Intraware, who owned the wall, they were keeping it on set around the time we started our major work. So they gave all students the opportunity to, if they had an idea, to use it. And me and my team saw the opportunity and pretty much hit the ground running with it, planning around what ways we could best utilize it or show off the skills around it. And actually, we got accepted, of course, and actually using it was really an experience. Uh, it's very much outside of the box in terms of what you traditionally do with VFX, having to work with the extra layers that are the virtual production and having to work on set with actors and lighting. It was very exciting. Yeah, it was very much a learning experience, I think, and I'm very glad that we got accepted.
That's awesome. And can you tell me maybe like a high point and a low point of the project? And how did you overcome, I guess, the low point?
That's a fantastic question. I guess at least for me, there weren't any significant low points. There were a lot of hurdles because it is such a new technology that we've never had experience with, and our teachers, who as supportive as they are, they were also learning it along with us. So there were quite a few hurdles that were difficult to overcome, but thankfully, we were a team of problem solvers. So with enough time, we overcame a lot of those hurdles. But the high points definitely was getting the final product out. There were a lot of doubts between us, like throughout the whole project, as I'm sure any artist would, have your doubts. But seeing it come all together in the end, and it being not like it being something that we were happy with, was definitely a massive high point and something where I think we're all very proud of.
Yeah, so you should be. I think yeah, some of the
Thank you.
videos, some of the videos that we were just playing before is from your major project
Mm.
as well.
Yeah, I think this is it right
Um,
here.
yeah, pretty cool piece. So you had a whole bunch of frames, and I guess the background that's the LED wall, and so
Yes.
you had to all make it all in 3D. And the only thing real is that lever thing, I think, in that shot. That
No.
actor,
We
obviously.
we had a
No.
prop. We had a prop on set, and we CG'd it out. So we had
Oh,
a. It's funny. I came into the set one day with just a massive PVC pipe on a metal hinge, and we gave it to our actor and told him to pull this and pretend it's a lever, and we'll fix it in post.
oh wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know
So
that. That's
yeah. No,
and
the only
how
thing
did you come up
real.
with? Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
you go.
sorry. To say the only thing real is the actor and his costumes. Everything else is CG
Wow, that's pretty.
and
That's
and the
this is
phone.
amazing. Amazing work to be your first major like. Oh, I guess you did that small major project in year one, but that would be more. 3D, fully like
Yeah,
3D, but then
3G
this
short.
one, and then this one, like it turned out so well with like not having a lot of experience in it. How did you make sure you stayed on track with the project that you didn't know going into it how it was all going to plan out? How did you make sure that you stayed on track and got done on time?
It wasn't really much of a choice. It was a very tight schedule, this project, because the thing with virtual production is the way it completely radicalizes the workflow that you normally see from a VFX pipeline. So a lot of the CG and post that you would do alongside your shoots and in post, we had to take all of that and put it to the start of the project. So when all the other teams doing their major works were only starting their CG, we would have had to have ours all finished already, so we could start filming and have everything on the wall and prepared. So there wasn't really a lot of space to make a mistake. So I guess that was our way of staying on track. Is if we didn't get it, we wouldn't have made it on time.
Okay. And then for anyone out there that's kind of maybe going through a major project or about to start a major project, I guess what's like a word of advice or something for a team starting a project?
Oh no.
Throw that one at
My
you.
best, yeah, that's a curveball. Best advice I could give is communication with your team. It's very important to make sure everyone in your team is on the same page and that you're all happy with the idea that you're making. So definitely having a strong communication between everyone is the best advice I can give.
Yeah, no, awesome, great advice there. We have a wild map appears here.
Yes, we don't have a viewer question as such, unless I'm counted as a viewer. This is a personal question that I just thought of that I kind of wanted to ask because you just said throw a curveball, and I was like, oh, I've got one. I've got a little curveball up my sleeve.
Oh no.
You were just going through, and like, yeah, the final product looks amazing with that, the wall that you've used and the technology and the software there. This one could be a bit of a hard one. You might have to come back to this one, but if you could change one thing about the software or the hardware, what would you change?
Ooh, the software and the hardware.
Yeah, or the
I would
hardware.
change nothing because they are perfect.
Oh.
Just use it, error.
Yeah, of course. I would never blame the hardware software. There are some nitpicks, and I don't want to name names because I still work with these softwares today.
Yeah.
But during the time that we were doing this project, there were certain bugs that really prevented the softwares that we were using to work to their full potential.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, our team, we had to find a lot of workarounds or cut some corners to actually compensate for that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, those have been fixed, thankfully. They released the patch, I think, maybe a week after we finished our major work,
Oh,
which is
perfect.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic timing. But yeah, there are, because it's such a new technology and every company's almost rushing to be the first to get their stuff out there.
Yeah.
There are times where sometimes things don't work as they're supposed to, or
Yeah.
there are some bugs that aren't fully tested, and then it affects the production. But
Yep.
they're always fantastic at patching these out, even if it's a week late. They always get fixed in the end.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good answer.
Thank
Back to you,
you.
Jess.
I hope it
You're
didn't
good,
upset
you're
anyone with
good.
that.
I'm sure it's fine.
course.
So yeah, you've only been out of AIE for a year now. When you were at AIE, did you expect yourself to go into this sort of path? And did you, when you were at AIE, did you have your eye on any studios or positions?
Absolutely not. I did not know this existed until we started using it, if I'm being honest. I guess to answer the second one, because it ties into the first one, is while I was at AIE, admittedly, because working with everyone, studio names come and go a lot. So you've become quite familiar with what's available, but I left it quite late deciding where I wanted to go because I wasn't exactly sure. And this was around the time we started our major work, and the topic of virtual productions came up, and they were showing all the students this new technology and what it is, and I kind of just latched onto it. because it was something so new and I was excited for it. And being a bit unsure of what I wanted to do, and then to have this come up and know that it's something that I'm really enjoying, I kind of just went running with it, and yeah, it kind of worked out in the end. I'm still enjoying it now, thankfully.
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. It all
Yeah,
worked out. So
it
now,
all
yeah,
worked
you're
out.
at Intraware. You're at
I'm at
Intraware
Intraware.
now. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about who they are and what they do?
So we are not a studio in the sense, but we are actually a redistributor. So we work with companies who are creating these hardware and software technologies for virtual production, and we're redistributing those to clients who are interested in getting into this, both large studios, events, and indie studios.
Very
So I guess
good.
my job with Intraware is using all these softwares and technologies and seeing how they work in a pipeline, and then providing that education to and software and technology to people who are interested in using it.
Very good. Is there a lot of I don't know if you know this. Is there a lot of studios that? Oh, I guess you're not a studio, but your company. Is there a lot of these type of companies around the world or around Australia?
There's a few. I can't name any, unfortunately, but there are quite a few who provide this kind of service that we do, as well as us. Of course, we are in a few places worldwide. We have a place in London and Los Angeles, I believe, as well as Sydney. And yeah, there are definitely a lot of other people who provide the same service.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's getting more and more popular as more and
It
more people
is.
find out about it. And how did you find out about this opportunity at Intraware?
They reached out to me actually. So the time came that they were looking for a new virtual apprentice. My name came up, and they were happy to continue working with me after the major work, since we worked so closely together during that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's convenient.
Mm. Yeah,
Well,
it was.
my next question was going to be more around like your portfolio and
Mm,
apply, like because a lot of studios and companies, you have to build a portfolio, more
of
like a
course.
creative portfolio, and send it in to then be accepted. It's not just your resume; it's a whole bunch of
Mm.
actual skills that you can do. Did you have to put a portfolio piece together, or what happened?
I didn't necessarily have a portfolio going into this opportunity, but my portfolio, if you will, very much was the experience I had with Introvert previously. Because during our major work, uh, they were there every day when we were working with it, and my role in my team was to learn the new layers on top of the final product that would be the virtual production. So I worked quite closely with them whenever we were doing the project, as they were teaching me, helping me get my footing with the new software and everything that goes with it. And because we had good relations during the project, and leaving it, we left on pretty good terms. So when the time came that they were looking for their next apprentice and my name came up, we were both more than happy to continue working together. So that
There you
was very
go.
much my portfolio, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's just like smooth, like you were working with them and then you just get working with them.
Yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah.
chumped my
Oh,
way.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And how's it been working with Intraware? Like, has there been any like really cool things that happened or like overwhelming things? Or, like what's work like?
It's exciting. It is exciting work. I'm very fortunate to be working with Intraware because it gives me access to so many new and upcoming softwares and technologies, and to learn them. I've definitely upskilled significantly in my time with Intraware, which has been a very great opportunity. In terms of big events, I have worked with quite a few clients, helping setting this up and learning as well, which has been exciting, getting to meet so many new and friendly people who share the same interests as you in this field, as well as going to Canberra to help with AIE's Open Day earlier this year, which was a pretty big event. I think it's the biggest one I've been a part of, and it was a really exciting and rewarding experience getting to meet everyone and working on that.
Wow,
So, yeah,
cool. Yeah. Yeah, for those,
little
I guess for
promo.
those that, yeah, that's good. For you guys out there watching, Matt kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but AIE now has a film and virtual production course starting next year. So slowly setting it up all over the country, and obviously there is a bit of demand for it in the industry. So we're definitely fill in that gap. So yeah, looking forward to next year. Obviously, like you're learning so much and coming to AIE and learning film, 3D animation and visual effects of film. But now the industry is going, there's a whole bunch of the industry going this way for virtual production, and there's other ways, and everything's just expanding. What's the experience like in this fast-paced environment?
It's challenging. Like you mentioned, because it is such, oh, not, I wouldn't say new, but because it is such a fast-growing field, and every other month things are changing, problems are being solved that you didn't know existed. It's very much a challenge to keep up with everything that's coming out. I enjoy it. Fortunately for me, I do think my biggest strength is that I am adaptable. So, and I love seeing all these new changes and softwares get released and come out so often, and seeing the way that it's shifting and growing. I find it very rewarding personally, but it is a challenge. It is definitely something to keep up with, or I guess a swim or drown kind of situation, if you will.
Yeah,
but yeah,
for sure.
I definitely do enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what matters. And obviously, with like all these changes and this technology is becoming very accessible to a lot more companies to use. Obviously, as it's been around for so long. Where do you see from this point? Where do you see the future of film?
I very much see this becoming a big part of film in the future. I wouldn't say it will become the norm, because there's obviously things that it can't do, or there's always going to be traditional filmmakers out there who prefer the real over CG. But at the pace it's growing and how much it's providing, I definitely see it becoming a big trend to stay, especially since with the way the world is at the moment with lockdowns and stuff. A lot of things have to shut down, and this provides a solution to that, and it's really optimizes the filming process. Having everything in one site that you need, you can get through far more filming in a day that you would typically going from site to site. So yeah, I definitely think that what it provides is definitely here to stay.
Yeah, no, exciting. And it's not just for film. There's a lot of other uses for it as well. So I do know, like, there was a news news channel, a big one in America. They used it for their whole TV backgrounds, but it was like they were at the Olympics. Like, it looks like they were overseas, but they weren't. It was all just around them with the virtual production wall. So it's used for so many different sort of areas.
Yeah, the applications are numerous for sure.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Matt,
that was generally you took my kind of question out my mouth. I was about to I wanted to ask Antonio. I said with film and virtual production, like they're clearly related, like synonymous with each other, right? But the skill set of virtual production though, like the way the world's changing, where we're becoming more reliant on technology, and old mate Mark Zuckerberg with his new metaverse. Like, it's so many different, so I just wanted to ask, have you had any glimpse or insight into useful skills, useful industries or applications that VP could offer elsewhere outside of film?
Yes, I can name a few off the top of my head. Like just mentioned, it is pretty big in news already. There is, as you mentioned, there's a specific example I want to say, but I can't remember what it was for. I think it was the Russian Cup. I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm not. But there was a news event where virtual production was massive, and they pretty much put their show in Russia, even though it was on a green screen set. So things like that are pretty big in news, as well as you got film and live events. Actually, virtual production kind of has its roots in live events, and like the live music shows kind of thing is where it all comes from in music and concerts. There's quite a few different applications it can be used in. I'm drawing a blank now, actually. Other than those are the big name ones, of course. Yeah. If I think of any, I'll make sure to bring it back up.
Right, back to you, Jess.
Good. I know, there's been a whole bunch of music videos as well. being made with that. I'm also drawing a blank with the small list that I have.
Teaching, actually, teaching as well,
Teaching.
especially because a lot of it has gone online and Zoom. Uh, it's a lot smaller, but it's newer that they're trying to get into the virtual production as well. It's as a more interactive way of teaching students
Oh,
online. So that's
wow,
another one.
cool. How exciting. And where, I guess, after this first year of graduating AIE, where
Mm.
do you kind of see yourself now in maybe 5 or 10 years?
5 or 10 years, I hope to still be doing this down the track. Um, Definitely see myself obviously working virtual production, but I do lean to or enjoy the teaching aspects more of my job. So I could see myself kind of going down that path and spreading my knowledge of virtual production to the next generation of artists, and hopefully they can excel far further than I've ever gone. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. Well,
I hope to still be
that's
working in
sweet.
this field. It is very
Yeah.
rewarding. I do enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, fingers crossed. um, and for anyone out there that's watching tonight that really want to get into maybe the film industry or virtual production industry, maybe they are studying at AIE or another educator, or maybe they're looking at maybe they're finishing year 12 this year. What are some words of wisdom that you can give them, or some
Uh,
advice?
a good sleep cycle, firstly. That's probably the most important advice I could ever give. And other than that, a really important thing to keep in mind, especially with this field, and I know I'm guilty of this, is not to be intimidated by it. Especially working with it for the first time, there's so many new terms and new technologies that get thrown at you so fast. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and almost turned off it because it's so outside the box. But don't let that draw you away, because at the end of the day, virtual production isn't really rocket science. A lot of it and a lot of the foundations of it are exactly the same as developing a game or traditional VFX and content creation. It's just a few extra layers on top of it that once you learn, really almost trivial. So if it's something you're interested in getting into, I would absolutely recommend having a dive and looking into it. A lot of companies that work with this provide fantastic documentation on their softwares and make it really easy to learn for existing artists and new artists alike. So yeah, I guess best advice is don't be afraid and try something new. You might find a career
And
out
then
of it.
sleep and
And
sleep
sleep.
properly.
Definitely sleep properly.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice. Thank you so much for that.
Mm.
That's kind of coming to the end of all the questions that I have for you, and you've done really well at answering all of those. And
Oh,
hopefully, everyone out there understands virtual production a little bit more.
mm.
Very excited to see where everything goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully I see a lot more artists in the future. Look
yeah,
excited.
yeah. Very excited. Matt, I think just wants to take us before we jump off. We just want to show you what's kind of coming up with AI. Did you want to talk about Open Day and maybe our
Yeah.
virtual production course?
Yep, absolutely. Let's go through it. So, yeah, for anyone tonight who is intrigued by virtual production or is sold on it and I was like, yep, I'm ready. Let's do it. I want to be Antonio in a few years on a live stream with AIE. Jump onto our website now. So we've got a couple really exciting events. Probably the biggest one is coming up this weekend, our Open Day. So on our website, if you go to Showcase and you go to Events, Open Day here, you'll need to register for the event. In some states, we do have numbers restrictions because of COVID. But in saying that, we'd love to see you there. And what we'll be going through, each stream we'll be going into information. Teachers will be giving presentations on specific subjects, going into breaking down the area, what you're actually going to be studying next year. And of course, the Open Days are best for you to come and ask us questions. Speak with the teachers, any queries that you have get answered, and make sure that you are in the right place and it is the right course for you. So definitely jump onto the website there and fill out what it needs, or fill out the form and register. And then of course, we will be having a few more live streams before the end of the year as well, so keep an eye out for them. At this stage, it will be, I think we're up for a game Oh no, off the top of my head, I can't remember actually off the next one, but we'll have a few more coming up. So a lot of
I think we'll be showcasing our current students who are about to graduate. So showcasing their major game project and major film project in the next couple of weeks.
yeah.
But if you are wanting to watch any of our past ones, you can come to our workshop page. I think that's under student information, but we've got heaps here. So if you're not really interested in a virtual production, but maybe interested in like another sort of area, we probably have a video on it talking to one of our amazing alumni about their journey into the work.
Yep. And if, of course, you do have questions that you need answered before open day, always feel free to get in touch with us here, ask a question, or the apply now button if you are ready to go. So that's everything from us here at ARE for tonight. A big thank you once again to Antonio, and a big thank you to Jess for tonight.
Thank you to you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
We hope everyone has a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.